how to evaluate the quality of a talisman. Now here is where we separate dedicated practitioners from just marketplace opportunists or mere hobbyists of talisman making. Here are 6 criteria you should use to evaluate talismans, whether you are buying them or deciding to make them yourselves. Number 1, the materials. What are you making this talisman out of? How do these materials relate to your goal in the planetary hierarchy in which you're ensouling inside of it? All of these should align up perfectly. Picatrix explicitly states, let the aforesaid thing be in correspondence to one another, and let them reflect the powers and influences of the planet that rule the working. For a solar talisman, you want materials made out of rubies, garnets, and bloodstones, stones referenced in Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy and Albertus Magnus's On Minerals. For Venus, lapis lazuli and carnelian. Mars, diamond and carnelian. If someone is trying to sell you a Venus talisman without any connection or relation to the traditional materials and their correspondences, then it's not something that's part of this lineage of transmission, and potentially not even a Venus talisman. Thus, they've skipped the most fundamental step of the talisman making process. Number 2, the election, the time in which the talisman was made. What was the astrological configuration of the planets and stars at the moment the talisman was ensouled? Fundamentally, you have the right to know the electional chart for every astrological talisman being sold. No questions asked. Definitely no excuses. If the seller cannot share with you the election they used, probably one wasn't used at all, and you should not be buying from them. Now, an electional chart at a minimum should have the planet and main significator in essential dignity, the moon moving fast and not under 12.5 degrees of average daily motion, the main significator and the moon not applying to any malefics or making any malefic aspects, and have the main significator angular on the ascendant or the midheaven of the chart election. Astrological talismans should also be made during planetary day or planetary hour, with many practitioners opting to require mandatorily planetary hour. Now, there is no such thing as a perfect election. Anyone actually putting their life on the line and making these understands that. But they are certainly a foundational set of principles that each election should share. Let me be living proof that you don't need a theoretically perfect election to have incredible results that rewire the fabric of your entire life. And to provide full transparency, I am going to share below my list of 12 principles that I most wholeheartedly try to follow from Picatrix and all the talismans that I create. I also have made 7 talisman case studies showing you the exact elections of talismans that I've made are for sale and the effects that they have had for me. Number 3, the celestial image. How are we going to draw down the celestial spirit from the planetary hierarchy of our desires into the object? In Picatrix and Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy provide very specific images, numbers, tables, and glyphs of the planets for us to use in astrological magic. And true experts of this tradition are able to create their own images based on these principles. These images aren't decorative. Looking nice and having a good vibe are not the end-all be-all or the motivating factor for the images of a talisman. If it looks beautiful, awesome, but it doesn't need to. These images are visual signatures so that the spirits of the celestial realm are able to understand where it is in material reality they are meant to inhabit. Number 4, the suffumigation. What was the incense used during the ensoulment ritual? Picatrix is very explicit on the role incense plays in the ensoulment of a talisman, literally being the stream that connects our material world to the celestial realm. Thus, the incense we use has a direct one-to-one correlation of the nature of the spirit that is getting ensouled and the efficacy of the talisman. In this way, the incense is the metaphorical golden chain that connects the heavenly realms and our material realm. For instance, a solar suffumigation may call for frankincense, saffron, and aloes wood. A Mars talisman may call for the burning of odoriferous woods. If these are left out, then it wasn't a martial or solar spirit that was called down. It's something different. If we were to skip incense entirely, then that chain is broken. Number 5, the prayer and incantation. What kinds of prayers, hymns, and chants are we using to call the spirit into the talisman? I use the Orphic hymns following the recommendation of Pico della Mirandola, who states in his list of aphorisms that the Orphic hymns are excellent for creating results of natural magic, and has been a principle that's caught on with the general theme of astrological magic in this so-called Western astrological magic tradition. Other practitioners use the petition texts that are present in Picatrix, which I have also used to good extent, and I know others who like to create their own versions of petitions, prayers, and poems to the planets. Albertus Magnus believed that this aspect, prayers, hymns, and praises to the planets, weren't essential, so you can make talismans without saying anything. But it is good to know, specifically, if the person making your talisman imbued it with any request or intention while it was getting made. And if they do, they should disclose this. Number 6, the operator. Who was it who made this talisman, and in what state were they in? There's many places in Picatrix where it encourages, almost requires the practitioner to be in a state of devotion to the divine, of piety, and operating in a sense where they desire to benefit those with the knowledge that they glean from the stars and celestial bodies. It's important to consider that a talisman made by somebody who doesn't believe what they're doing, who is just doing it mechanically to make money or to fulfill an order, or someone who doesn't have a meaningful relationship or even skin in the game with the people, places, and planetary hierarchy in which they are ensouling, is not going to have the same effect as a truly dedicated practitioner. It's good to know a little bit about who it really is that's making the talismans, what they stand for, and what they hope the effects are for you in your own life. For me, I only talk about this magic and sell talismans because it's helped me tremendously in ways I never imagined, and I like to be able to offer that to others who need this kind of specific solution.